Hi, and welcome back to the kitchen. So today I wanted to share with you something that really troubled me when my mom was sick, which was her high fever. So she had about a 39.5 degree fever for 5 days. That's Celsius. That's 103 degrees Fahrenheit. So it is quite high. You want to be very careful not to keep it for too long because it can cause brain damage, which is something that worried me. I didn't want her to have long-lasting effects after this whole thing as well. So she had a fever for about 2 days, and what we did for that during those 2 days was we just did a cold cloth on her head to help keep her brain nice and cool. So we would just keep soaking it and keeping it as low as possible for her head. But we didn't really want to stop the fever, and the reason why is because the body naturally brings up your body temperature so that it can kill viruses. Something I learned recently was that your body has to be at around 36.8 to 37 degrees Celsius in order to kill viruses. And that's why Spirit of Prophecy talks about keeping your body evenly clad. And what she means by that is making sure that the clothing that you're wearing covers evenly over your extremities, with your limbs. And that's because if you have portions of your arms or your legs that are exposed or are not as warm as other parts of your body, the blood will leave this part and go to where it's warmer. And the problem is that then this obviously cools off, and you have now a section of your body that's breeding viruses. So you really want to keep your body evenly clad, and you want to make sure that your thyroid is functioning well so that it is not, your average normal body temperature is not below virus-killing temperatures. And so a fever is actually not a bad thing because your body is just heating you up to a point where it really can burn everything off as fast as possible and nothing bad lives. So we wanted to keep the fever. She wanted to keep the fever for a while, but we just wanted to make sure it wasn't harmful. So putting the cold cloth on the head was a way of keeping her brain nice and cool and making sure it doesn't hurt her long term. However, after 2 days, her fever kept climbing, and it got to about 103, and it was staying there for a while. So at that point, you don't want to have a high fever that's prolonged. Even if you're keeping the head cool, it's just not enough at that point. So we had to try to fight the fever down because we didn't want any damage. So some methods to do, and what you can do, is you can do a tepid bath. So a tepid bath is about 32.2 degrees Celsius temperature for the water, and you can fill your bathtub and then climb into it and just stay there for about 15 minutes, and it should cool you down and lower your body temperature. Now, for me personally, and in the case for my mom, I find that after you get out of the tub, it takes about an hour, and then your temperature can shoot back up. And that was the case for my mom as well. So if that is the case for you, and you need to fight it back down again, then you can do some other things. So another option is to put cool ice packs in the armpits. And that's what we did, and that's what worked. So you can just use any ice pack you have. If you don't have an ice pack, you can put ice water into a bowl and cool a cloth down, and then just roll the cloth up and tuck it in, which is what we did. Or you can also put some ice in a plastic bag. But in each case, as with the pack and with the bag, I would recommend wrapping it in a towel before you put it directly on the body. The person has a very high fever and they're hot, so something like ice would be very shocking to the body directly on the skin, and so you would want to cover it so that there's some protection before it really cools the body too fast. So those are just some ways. Another way you can do is enema. You can do a catnip enema, which is really helpful. We didn't have an enema board or a kalemic board, so you could use that if you have it. If not, then you can try some of the other methods. And another way is also ginger. Agatha Thrash's book talks a lot about eating ginger, and even you can put some ginger in a bath, and that helps as well. Just open the pores The mint also helped with opening pores and helping to alleviate a fever. But when it's so high, you kind of want to do something drastic. So the ice and the tepid bath is a little bit more drastic than just a herb. But if it keeps for a while, if the fever starts and you see, okay, let's try to help control the fever, I would start right away taking some mint and some ginger. And that might help keep it from getting too high. But at that point, you would have to start cooling it down with drastic methods. The other thing about fever is you could use a herb called feverfew, which is a flower that grows. And feverfew also helps bring down a fever, as well as yarrow. Yarrow grows very readily in our country here. It's a wild herb. So you can harvest some and put some in the bath with you, in the tepid bath, and that helps bring down the fever as well. So those are just some methods. Hopefully it helps you. It was very scary for me when her fever was staying too high. So I was looking at everything I could possibly do, reading Jethro Kloss's book, reading Agatha Thrash, and these were some methods that I read about, and this particular one that helped was the ice packs under the armpits. So if you are in that situation, hopefully some of these tips will help you. God bless.